Folks, how are you? Welcome everybody. This is Jack Saba from Telos here. And this is the first time we actually do this. And I mean, there's a lot of firsts in this Corona season, right? But we're joined today with a partner here on the ground in Israel, Palestine, Combatants for Peace. If you are not aware or haven't heard of Combatants for Peace, it's an organization and a movement of former fighters on both sides of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Together, they have put their weapons down, renouncing all forms of violence, and are working together to end occupation and bring peace to both peoples. They are a grassroots movement working to affect change in local communities. And we're really honored to have our two speakers here, Galia, Galili, and Osama, Iliwat. Thank you for joining us this evening and morning and noon for our folks in stateside. Before we jump in, I just want people to get to know you just a little bit more. So Galia, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll ask Osama to do the same. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Hi, thank you everybody for coming. I'm excited to be here and for this opportunity to talk with you. Well, I'm a typical Israeli gal. My parents came from very different backgrounds. Here in Israel, we tend to see ourselves as like a melting pot for all people, or rather all Jews. And so my mother came from a very privileged Ashkenazi background. My father was born in Morocco. From a very unprivileged family, came to Israel at the age of 13 and grew up in a moshav, which is like an agricultural settlement. He was very poor, grew up in a very radical right-wing house. He was actually pretty racist. And that's the environment I grew up in, which changed very gradually throughout my later years. As a child, I used to play with Palestinians in Silwan, just below my neighborhood. I grew up in Jerusalem. We used to hang out, play football, steal donkeys together. And but when I brought them home, my mother used to really treat us with drinks and everything. But my father used to get really, really cross at me and send them away. So I never really touched politics at all. I just didn't understand exactly what's the difference between me and the Palestinian kids for my father, but really didn't ask much. I joined the army. I served 2 years in the Air Force. No questions asked. I participated in things I really didn't understand. It was when I just enrolled, it was the first Intifada just broke. And my squadron used to disperse pamphlets over Gaza saying, evacuate, we're going to bomb. But I even didn't know what these pamphlets in Arabic said. It was my father's home language, tongue, however you call it. But I didn't even ask what's written. I, of course, couldn't read it. So I was like ambivalent. I didn't really know anything that was happening around me until 2000 probably, where the second Intifada broke, and as a person from Jerusalem, like everybody else, I knew many people who got injured in the bombings. A friend died. My brother was serving as a medical student. He was one of the first people to actually get to the suicide bomb area because his hospital was very close to there. So that really affected me. And at the same time, I gave birth to my first son. And suddenly I felt like as a mother, I have some responsibility and knowing what's happening in my country. Well, I'll just flash forward to 2014, where the first Gaza war broke, last Gaza war, and it started off with me frightened for my husband. My husband is a lieutenant sergeant in the Air Force. He does military service every week. And he was there together with many of my friends from the Air Force, actually taking part in the bombings of Gaza. On the first days, I was scared for him and my friends. But very quickly, I became really angry and felt that my country is doing things that I can't stand. It's in my name, and my friends are there, and I just don't agree at all. Like, my country is getting further and further away from me, and I felt very alone in this feeling. That there were air raids here, also in our town in Ramat HaSharon. My second son came home one day from school. They were doing a drill because there were sirens all the time. So soldiers came in to explain to them what they needed to do when if they'll be attacked. So can I share the screen? Where is it? Oh my God.
Bottom center, share screen button.
This one? Maybe. No, it's not here. Well, maybe I'll just explain. It was here a minute ago. Here it is. So my son came home. He was like 12 years old with two pictures, one of a soldier holding up his hands. Can you see it?
No, it's not working.
Oh, wait. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
So the soldier is like, his rifle is on the ground. He's holding up his hands. He's surrendering. And the other picture was a small girl with pigtails with this huge M16 or whatever in her hand. And like, I thought, my God, like, as a mother, my son doesn't feel safe at all. He feels like we, the grown-ups, are not taking care of him. He has to take care of himself. And that was really a horrible thought for me. And at the same time, I'm thinking, what can I do to stop all this horrendous violence going on? One night I drove through Tel Aviv with the sirens going on, and I saw a group of people, 5 people, holding up signs saying, there is another way. And I thought, that's amazing. I want to be part of this. I want to get out of the couch and do something. Yeah, but I thought maybe this is not exactly the right time. But I couldn't sleep the whole night and decided the next day I'm going to do something. I was sure that, like, I have 4 years to go until my eldest son will go to the army. I can do this, like Bilby Pee Long Stocking said. I never tried this, therefore I'm very sure I'll succeed. So I had 4 years. I joined, I looked for all around for places to volunteer in, and finally I found my home, Combatants for Peace, where we work together and also build, not just protest against the violence, but also try to build a community together. So now my eldest son is in the army. my second son is starting his steps for checkups for the army, and it's a really, really tough spot for me to be in as a mom. It's I burst into tears a lot when I talk about it. So that's my life. That's my where I am right now.
Thank you, Galia. Thank you. So folks, just before I introduce Osama, our next speaker, I just wanted to, for those of you just joining, because we're live on Facebook, this is the Telos group in conjunction, co-hosting a session on annexation, continuing our talks on annexation. And today we're speaking with our co-host here from Combatants for Peace about how annexation affects families and communities. The Telos Group is an American organization of American peacemakers. We form communities of peacemakers, equipping them to help reconcile seemingly intractable conflict in the US and abroad. One of our first missions has been here in Israel and Palestine. So thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us, thank you, Galia. That's a fascinating story, and I can't wait to get in and pepper you with questions. Osama, can you hear us?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I am good.
All right. Can you share a little bit background before we get into the annexation?
Yeah. So thank you, Jack and Beth and everyone who works on this. Thank you for helping us and allowing our voice to reach all around the world. That gives us hope and gives us the power and the strength to continue our way, because we believe we have supporters all around the world. We are not alone, and we're gonna make change. My name is Osama Iliwat. I'm originally from the same village Galia just mentioned, and I was touched when she said that. I'm from Silwan. I was born there. I grew up first years of my life in Silwan with my grandparents and my mom. My father moved or was expelled actually from Silwan because of the Israeli rules for the Palestinians. Like if any Palestinian work or live outside the borders of Jerusalem municipality, he could lose his residency, because the people of Jerusalem are not citizens of Israel, but they have the residency. It was annexed in 1967 actually. And my father lost his right. We moved to Jericho. I had no knowledge about anything about the political situation around me. I used just to play as a kid and look at the old city of Jerusalem from our home, and just feel free as a bird, playing, jumping on the trees, climbing. And when we moved to Jericho, it was the late 80s. It was 89 when the first Intifada just started. And in front of my school, it was my first encounter with Israelis. It was 3 Israeli soldiers standing in front of the school, and they asked me to stop, and they were checking me and searching in my backpack, and I was terrified, and I went back home crying. And I asked my mom about the soldiers, about what they want and who they are. And unfortunately, she told me they are the Jews. So that was my first encounter about whole Judaism, about Jewish people, full armed people, standing in front of my school. Every single day, the soldiers used to sit on the next building of my school. If anyone throws stone at their direction, they used to target the school by tear gas, and I ran away crying. That's how I grew up. And they used to enter to the houses and take people and ask them questions, question them outside, sometimes after midnight, sometimes at 2. Once they came to our house and they took my father, and I saw my father when he came back. He has marks on his body, blue marks, and I knew that the Jews, according to my mind by then, beated my father, and I was mad. I was almost 14. I hated them a lot, and this hate was based on fears, and it became more than hate. It became anger, and I start to go and I start to go out and write graffiti after midnight on the walls against the Israel or pro-Palestine, and then I start to hang Palestinian flags in our neighborhood. They got me and they arrested me once when I was 14 something, and I stayed in jail as administrative prisoner. Administrative prisoner means that you don't go to court, you don't see a judge. Any soldier can keep any Palestinian if he like just assumed he's going to do any kind of violence. He can put him in jail up to 3 years. I was for 9 months actually. They said 6, but it became 9. And in this jail, I lost my childhood, and I learned everything bad about Jewish people. I went out with, let's say, big amount of hate to the Jewish people, and I wanted to resist again. Then Oslo started. I joined the Palestinian police. After 3 years, the Israeli army, according to them by mistake, killed one of my friends. His name is Firas. I have his picture, which I can show you the pictures. I don't have my laptop today, but maybe next time. And I was really mad at the Palestinian Authority and really mad at the Israelis. And I left the police and I wanted to resist again. I joined the resisting again in 2000. And also I was 100% sure that there is no single good Jewish person in this planet, according to my mind. And I stopped resisting in 2007 by getting orders from the Palestinian Authority that we have to stop the armed struggle. So we stopped, and after 3 years, I went to a meeting of Israelis and Palestinians where I met for the first time in my life, accidentally, where I met Israeli people or Jewish people, according to my mind. First, I was mad at my friend why he brought me to meet the Jewish people. I didn't exactly know that I'm going to meet them. And then I heard from them that some of them really care. Some of them really think that we are a human being and we have rights, and their government is not doing the right thing, and they are against this. And they don't agree with what's going on in Gaza, the siege, and all the whole occupation. And I was really confused. I went back with this crack in the narrative, this crack in the history, the story. When you say history, it means his story. It was my story, that they are all bad people and they are all occupiers. So I went back and I asked, after thinking about this, and after 3 months, I went back to another meeting where I met another amazing Jewish Israeli people who just explained to me somehow how much they believe in me and my rights, and they also explained to me their narratives and why they are here and why it's important to them. And they explained to me their history, actually, which I didn't know, and I wasn't educated enough about this. I heard for the first time in my life about Holocaust, about concentration camps, and about what happened to the Israelis. It doesn't justify what happened to me, but it's another narrative. And if you don't listen to it, if you don't believe in it, if you don't hear it, you will never meet with the others. And we are sharing the same land, we are sharing the same water, the same air, and we live under the same sky, and we neighbors very close to each other. Very Jericho, the settlement is 5 minutes away from me, but we never met as a human being. We both are separated by fears and like systemic control system, by control systems. So it was an opportunity to me to understand the others. I flew my first flight in my life to a concentration camp. It was Sachsenhausen in Germany, in Berlin, and I felt like sad and broken from inside. How come I did not see the pain of the other people, no matter who they are? And I want everyone to see my pain and my story. And from there, I started this long journey of transformation until I joined Combatants for Peace, where I met very brave fighters fighting for equality, fighting for justice, fighting for my rights, because not because we hate our governments or we hate our people, because we both believe that it's a duty to protect our people. My Israeli friends are protecting their own people, and I protect my own people from this circle of violence. And I believe in this way, and I will keep going or continuing this way until this thing change. And I believe change starts from one person, and I just donated my free time and a lot of time to make change and to bring peace to our communities.
Thank you, Osama. Osama, we're just going to jump into the questions here. Just I'm mindful of time, and people are already writing in the chat box. So as we were speaking about annexation, if anyone's kind of looked at the maps that both Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has suggested and under Donald Trump's peace proposal, we see, and you said you're from Jericho, so we see that Jericho is kind of an enclave. It's an island in the middle of what is supposed to be a proposed Israeli state. Can you talk about, at a personal level, if annexation happens, and there you have it on the screen, so that's Jericho right there. So if, you know, if this goes ahead and annexation happens tomorrow, on a personal level for your family, can you run us through just very quickly? And then I want to get Galia's also a response.
Thank you.
Just a day with the family moving around in a Jericho that looks like that.
Thank you. So actually, as I mentioned before, our lands was annexed in '67. I'm from Jerusalem. I was kicked out of Jerusalem. I'm not allowed to go to Jerusalem anymore without special permission. And I accepted my life in Jericho after a long time. I'm not allowed to go to my grandparents, to my uncles, to our land where I was born. Now what's happening to me now is the same story. As you see, Jericho is here, the yellow small Iceland in the middle of the orange map here. And it says, if Israel annexes Jordan Valley, I am isolated. I am in the middle of nowhere. I'm surrounded by Israel from everywhere. And I need permission even to go out of my city. And my lands will be annexed again. My life. I even the word annexation, it even doesn't work for me very well. For me, it's reoccupation more than annexation, and this will make my life disaster, because in this orange thing, what you see, it's third of West Bank. It is the only borders with another country. My dream was, when I accepted Oslo Agreement, just to be free, just to live as any kid in this world, any human being in this world, where I have borders to go out and to come in, where I have airport, where I have authority care about me, and I have enough water, and I have income, and I can export and import, you know. And this map is killing all my dreams. It's telling me, because you accept peace, and you accept the Israeli people, and you accept Israel, you are going to live in jail again. And I will not give up, and I will keep fighting against this in all the peaceful ways until this occupation ends and until this discrimination ends. Because now I'm living in Jericho. I used, when I was kid, I used to eat fruits from the streets. I used to eat oranges and bananas and dates everywhere. Now Israel is controlling 80% of the water of Jordan Valley and 86% of the lands of Jordan Valley. Nowadays, already they are controlling it. The annexation will just legalize this, and they will give them a legal status to what they are doing to us. And the people, 40,000 people living in Jordan Valley, I'm talking about 40,000 Palestinians and something around 10,000 settlers living there. The 40,000 Palestinians will be kind of illegal in their homes, in their lands, and the Israeli settlers and the outposts, which is illegal according to the Israeli law and the international law, will be legal and they will grow. So this actually will kill any opportunity for peace and will not make me able to explain to my people, my kids in the future, my people, my family, that peace is possible and there is way to make peace with Israel.
Thanks, Osama. So, Galia, it's important to note, just turning to you, this obviously won't have the same effect on Israeli lives as it will on Palestinians, especially for the short term. Yet many like yourself are opposed to Israeli annexation and military occupation in general, and actively oppose it in the grassroots work that you do. How do you see the future of Israel if this step is taken? What will this mean for you personally?
I think that we won't see it. My kids and my family, my neighbors won't really realize this is happening, but slowly but surely it will have a great impact on our lives. It's first of all our human thought about how to raise my kids, all my morals, my youngest son is going to be bar mitzvah he's turning 13, and how am I supposed to tell him that the Jewish belief is good? It's a mutual love for people, and how like all the morals, all my education for my kids are like vanishing in front of my eyes. I can't really explain to them how is it that there are people that don't have the same rights that we do in our country. So explaining apartheid to my children, losing my partners, losing neighbors, making my neighbors enemies, not being able to really truthfully believe that we're secure here because of rage of the people living just next door. Like the occupied territories are 20 minutes from my house, 12 minutes drive from my work. It's here, and not being able to trust that border, not being able to go over it. It's like narrowing my world, both in psychological point of view and physically too. And it's just bringing the border closer to Israel in terms of security. I just think it's ridiculous. We're just bringing Iran closer to Israel. And economically, it's a very big burden for us. Yeah, I think that the most is like feeling isolated from my people, from my country, from my government, isolated from the world, as we will be outcasts if we do such an illegal thing, internationally illegal. So yeah, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yes. So we just had a kind of a follow-up question to this in the chat box, asking, you know, a lot of people are saying this will be, annexation will be a great danger to Israel. So what do you think will be the pushback?
What do you mean by pushback?
I think I'm just going to speak for Madeline here, but I guess from the international community against Israel.
You're asking what is the power of international community? No,
what do you
can
think
you
is going to
unmute
be?
Madeline? I think I see her trying to explain herself.
You say, okay.
Hi.
Hi.
No, I've read some articles about within the Israeli political discourse that this is really a danger to Israel, this move of annexation.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what the danger might look like specifically in the short term. In the long term, is there, is there fear both of international, well, I don't know what the international response can be. The King of Jordan has already made something like a threat. Will the Palestinians react, or do you think that it could just happen and it will be just another disaster for the Palestinians that's silent within this pandemic and everything else?
Okay. So already without annexation, without proper legal annexation is going on, and the occupation is annexing slowly but surely all in parts, and it won't also stop. If we stop annexation, it doesn't mean that annexation is going to stop in the occupied territories. So this the whole I will speak for the whole occupation. It's really bad for Israel. It's I had spoken about the security, but it's more than security when we lose our partners, Jordan and Egypt. We have a very small country with very long borders. I don't know how we would be expected to keep those borders if they are hot, like on war all the time. So I think it's a grave, disastrous for Israel. And morally, I mean, how do you occupy people? How do you live with that? It's
And we have another question from Fahad here about why is everyone angry about the annexation of the Jordan Valley now? And he references the annexation of most of the land around Hebron, Bethlehem, East Jerusalem. So that ties to another question I had for both of you, I guess, that many people say there's been creeping annexation, and in reality, Israel controls what goes in and out and moves around all of the land. The settlements are expanding. The likelihood of an independent state has been dwindling. What's the difference now? And I got that question the other day on a call. Why is this such an important development? So feel free to jump in here, Osama. But can you guys give us specific just examples of how this will be different than the status quo?
Yeah. So as I said before, Israel is controlling already 80% of Jordan Valley since '67 under many excuses, and they are doing their best to keep Palestinians limited in Jordan Valley. Like most of these lands are either military zone or either settlement zone or either farmer lands or border zone or all these things. So they are controlling it, you're right. But according to the international community, this is illegal. What they are doing here and in Hebron and around Bethlehem and everywhere, it's illegal. The minute Israel officially annexed Jordan Valley and it became part of Israel, that give all the settlers a legal status to be there legal, and it takes from Palestinians their rights because they will be strangers in their land. They will be people are living in another state without rights. Now, yes, we have a lot of disasters happening by Israel in Jordan Valley. They destroy houses every day. They take lands every day, and they build settlements every day. But all these things are illegal again. All these things are against the international law, and some outposts, which is 12 outposts in Jordan Valley, are illegal also according to Israeli law. It just gives a it legalized the occupation. It gives it permission to do what they are doing. They give themselves the permit to do whatever they want because it became part of Israel. I myself can reach only north of Dead Sea now, right now, even though it's all closed, but I can drive there because it's Jordan Valley. I have 3 seas around this country, which is the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea and the Dead Sea. With annexing Jordan Valley, it means I am not allowed to reach any of these seas. I'm not allowed even to dream in the future because they are destroying even my dreams, not only my present, also my dreams and my children's dreams in the future. And it's also destroying the dreams of Palestinian people in the future. So it will find land to people to be violent. It will create more violence because when people are out of hope, they will use violence because it's the only way. All what I'm trying to do is we have to show the Palestinians and the Israelis and the whole world that there is a hope and we still can live in peace.
So we have a few questions coming in here to the chat. I just want to, since I have you on here, Osama, I've been reading recently in articles, there's hawkish voices in the US and in Israel that have in recent days, been pushing on Palestinians to stop annexation, surprisingly. So they're saying things like, Israel can't keep waiting for a yes from Palestinians. They want to move forward and the PA is holding them back by refusing to engage. Can you just offer a reflection on that as a person that is active towards achieving peace and equality and working alongside Israelis?
Engage in what?
So what they're saying is that the PA, because it refuses to speak to the Trump administration and to the Israelis under this framework, that that they're basically stopping any progress for Israel or for the situation, the status quo, to move on.
Yes, as I mentioned before, you can't negotiate with someone who say what mine is mine and what yours is negotiable. What's going on here, actually, Israel and Trump decided for us something without inviting us to decide with them. They took the decision to take more and more of our lands. As I said, my biggest dream when I was a kid was to have my own homeland. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. That's how I used to go in the streets and shout every single day. And then after Oslo, myself and a lot of Palestinians and the Palestinian Authority accepted 22% of our homeland in order to reach a dream, to be free, in order just to be able to travel and to go out and to have our own land and to live secure and to live equal and to live to raise our children in a normal environment where they can go to schools and play basketball. I want to see my kids playing like all the kids in the world. I want to see them in the future dreaming and studying and not thinking about resisting and not becoming violent people. What's going on now is Trump and Netanyahu decided for us, your dreams, as long as you believe in peace, your dreams are limited more and more. The Palestinian Authority negotiated with Israel for 20 years. And during these negotiations, always the settlements were growing and they took more lands and they cut trees and they control more and more borders and they keep us more and more limited. So for us, it is a big disaster. It will take us again as Palestinians to be hopeless. It will make us believe that Israel is not a partner, and the Israelis are not partners for any peace in the future. And our dream of having our homeland is done. And with this annexation and with these things, it shows us that how if you give up your rights once, they will keep asking you for more and more and more. And we are not willing to give any more, because for now, we get all what we can. Either Israel leave us to live in our own country, or they just give us full rights like everyone else living here. This is the only solutions, but half solutions are not accepted, not by the Palestinian Authority. I can't live without agricultural lands. I can't live without water. I can't live without authority. I can't live without borders with another country. I can't live in a state which is surrounded by Israel from everywhere, and I need permission to go to visit my uncles and my cousins in Jordan. And that's how it looks like. It's just I can't live in jail. When they say Gaza Jericho first in Oslo, my dream was Gaza Jericho should be the first dream for peace, the first hope for peace. And what's going on now that they are turning Jericho to Gaza too, and they are turning Jordan Valley to Hebron and Tel Mermeda too. And this will not pass as long as we are here, and no one can accept it. Even if the Palestinian Authority accepted it, the Palestinian people will refuse it.
Okay. Gali, did you have any reflections on that? Of why the Palestinians, the claim that Palestinians have been unwilling to engage in negotiations?
Because that's the easiest thing to say, that the other one doesn't want to participate, of course.
All right, just because
you see the passion and that Osama has, which everyone has for their homeland. No way anyone is going to give that up.
All right.
I just want to add, this is not because it's Israel. I'm not struggling here against Israel or against Judaism. I will struggle the same way and resist the same way if any Arab or Muslim country have done this to me. It has nothing to do with Judaism. Occupation has nothing to do with Judaism, and resisting against occupation has nothing to do with anti-Semitism.
And to add on that, to be friends of Israel is not to give in that. I mean, not to participate in this.
Okay. All right. So just picking up some more of the questions here in the chat box. Helen asked, do you see BDS, the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement, as an effective means of influencing Israeli policy? I want you to answer that first, Galia. As an Israeli, do you see it as an effective means?
Well, it's a legitimate way of objecting to something as a non-violent force, trying to pressure the government to do something. So in that sense, if it's not violent, it's legitimate way. Me, myself, and all people in CFP also don't buy things from the occupied territories. We do our best to pressure in every way possible, and an economical pressure is also a sort of objection or struggle. And so, yeah, I also don't. How do you say? I lost the word for cherem.
Boycott.
Yeah, the occupied territories. But having said that, we'd rather work together and do things that are mutual and not expelling any one side or the other, and we try to work together towards an agreement rather than doing it this way. So,
right. Just I also want to hear from you about actions, Osama, because you do work with Israelis and Combatants for Peace. Why did you choose this, personally speaking, this method?
Because if you don't believe in people, don't expect from them to believe in you. As long as you don't believe in other people's rights, don't expect from them to believe in your rights. Israelis for me now are not enemies, they are my partners, they are my neighbors. About the BDS, I believe it's a legal and non-violence way to boycott the Israeli products. The Israelis, the Jewish people themselves, boycott the German cars at the beginning when Israel was established. You didn't see any German cars in Israel until they make peace with Germany because of the Holocaust. So the Israeli people have done the boycott before us. I believe boycotting the Israeli products is important economical pressure on Israel to stop the occupation, especially boycotting the settlements products, because they are taking our lands, our water, and they are farming it, and they want to sell to us from our lands, and we became slaves for them. But I don't agree with boycotting people, because people make war and people make peace. If I boycott the Israelis, I will not find partners to make peace with. I need to make peace. Peace happens between enemies and not between friends. And if I think Israelis are enemies, which I don't think, but if anyone think Israelis are our enemies, we should make peace with them by sitting and talking to them and not boycotting them, because I believe there is a lot of Israelis believe in peace and believe in my rights, and they are willing to come and struggle with me in order to be free, because they understand that as long as I'm not free, they won't be free. As long as the Palestinians are free, no one is free on this land.
Right. Idea of mutual flourishing. That's key. Thank you. Thanks, Osama, for that note. I see a question here from our friend Kindi Regina, and it's directed to you, Galia. She says, what does it mean for your children in the military? Is there any resistance to the annexation from within the military that you've heard of or you've encountered?
Well, first of all, going to the military, participating in the military is an issue. It's a huge issue. We had huge quarrels about it at home for a year before my eldest went to the military. It's important to understand that you don't volunteer to. You need to be really stubborn young 16-year-old in order to resist and not go and not participate. And as you can see from what I told you about my husband, we don't see eye to eye in this issue. So many quarrels, although we both realize we do need an army to protect, to have an army as a state to protect ourselves from war, but not to occupy other people. And the use of military is horrible in this sense. And regarding what the objection in the army, you don't see that, well, they're not allowed to. The soldiers are not allowed to go to protests or anything like that. Soldiers who resist go to jail, and there are not a few. There are many who do. Actually, many two girls of people from Combatants for Peace refused to go and were sat in jail, one of them for a year. Yeah. So, but we get many young people just out of the army, and we have programs for them in CFP. So they join us after they serve.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess it's hard to be a soldier and question orders. That kind of defeats.
It's almost impossible.
Right. Well, I just want to direct, Galia, a question to you, because many of the people, our friends that that come and visit through us and travel around the Holy Land with us are Christian Americans. And so they come and we visit the holy places, and we also meet with Christians, Muslims, and Jews that live on the land. You know, a lot of this has been done in kind of partnership with Christian Americans and in support of Christian Americans that are pressuring President Trump to give this approval. Can you talk, as an Israeli, can you talk about this kind of pro-Israel stance? Do you see it as pro-Israeli?
Yeah, well, you say there's a saying like, with friends like these, who needs enemies? I think that there's a lot of misinformation. I, as an Israeli, really appreciate the support of the Americans and the whole international community, of course. It's really important to us. I don't think we would have been here if we hadn't got any support. But we need to understand what this support means. Supporting annexation, supporting this kind of occupation on other people's land is absolutely not helping us. As I said before, there are so many issues that are not good for Israel in this annexation. Even if we just don't consider at all the human rights of other people, even if we just ignore that there are Palestinians sitting on that land, it's not good for Israel. So just do the homework. And good friends are really, really important. That's the international community in pressuring anti-annexation is doing a very good job. It seems like we're almost there. We just need another little push.
Well, I hope our friends that have joined in will continue pushing with us. Thank you both for taking the time. I know we're just a minute away from ending the call, so thank you both for taking the time this evening. Thank you all who joined us online with the Telos group and Combatants for Peace. I want to encourage you to keep pressuring your representatives, keep speaking to your friends and family about this issue. It's a really pivotal moment in this conflict. So please don't give up and stay engaged. And yeah.
Can I just ask that people maybe share this information that they got from this, or share the link, and go to the congressman, write letters to your congressman, ask them to push from their angle. Anything you can do, maybe donate to Telos or to CFP. We'd be really happy for the help.
Thank you, Galia. This was great. All right.
Can I add one thing in the end?
Sure, of course. Yes, please, Osama.
I just want to say that our problem here is we both are right. We both have stories here. We both have history here. We are connected to this land. We belong to this land. It doesn't belong to us. We belong to it. So we both have stories and we both have narratives, and it's all truth. And this is the place where two truths can meet and accept each other. I want to ask people who are watching us now, I'm not saying this as a victim. I don't feel I'm a victim. I feel I'm proud of my Israeli partners to make peace. And I believe we don't need a political decision to be friends and to resist together against discrimination and to resist against these laws. I want to ask people not to be pro-Palestinians or pro-Israel, and not to be against Palestinians and to be against Israel. I want to ask everyone to be both of us, because we both deserve to live here. I want to ask people to be pro-equality, pro-justice, pro-freedom to everyone. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful, Osama. Thank you for saying that. Folks, just before I forget also, we did send out, if you've signed up to our newsletter, if you haven't, you can go on our website at telosgroup.org and sign up. And we've sent out an FAQ, a comprehensive FAQ on annexation, and some talking points that you can use to speak to your representatives if you feel inclined and empowered to do so. So please revisit those in your inboxes. Please keep joining us. We have another annexation call next week on July 1st with a senior member of the international community that will be talking about policymaking and some large infrastructure projects in the West Bank and how all that will be impacted. Thank you both, Galia and Osama.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone. And I want to say to all the Americans who are watching us now, Palestinians' life matter. Thank you so much.
I mean, all right, bye. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.